Listen, everything in your life changes the moment you decide what you really want. That's the starting line. That's the first breath of transformation. Most people go through life knowing what they don't want. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be lonely. I don't want to feel this way anymore. But they never get crystal clear about what they do want. And if you don't have that clarity, you're just drifting. You can't steer a ship if you don't know where the harbor is. Clarity is power. Let me say that again. Clarity is power. If you know exactly what you want, and more importantly, why you want it, you already have the fuel to start moving. Because listen, change is never comfortable. Growth always comes with pain. But when your reasons are strong enough, when you've got that emotional fire, when your why is bigger than your fear, that's when you follow through. That's when you stop wishing and start creating. So if you came here today and you said, I want to change my life, but you can't tell me what that looks like, we start right there. You can't hit a target you can't see. You say, I don't know what I want in my career. I don't know what I want in my relationship. Great. That's not a problem. That's an opportunity, because now we've got a place to begin. Here's what I tell people who say, I don't know. If you truly don't know what you want, then start by writing down everything you don't want. Describe the job from hell. Describe the relationship from hell. Describe your life at its absolute worst. And as you start to write, something powerful happens. That frustration, that anger, that disappointment, it starts to move through you. Energy starts to flow. Because we can always describe what's wrong in detail, can't we? And then once it's all out on paper, all the stuff you never want again, you flip it. You look at that list and you say, all right, what's the opposite of this? The opposite of pain is your desire. You've just created a vision of what you do want, the job from heaven, the relationship that fulfills you, the body that gives you energy every single day. That's where we start. You don't need to know every step. You just need that first spark of clarity. And sometimes the reason we don't know isn't because the answer isn't there. It's because we've conditioned ourselves not to see it. Every time you say, I don't know, your brain starts to believe you. You build a habit of uncertainty. You literally blind yourself to your own power. So if you ever catch yourself saying, I don't know, stop, stand up, move your body, change your state. Because the moment you change your physiology, your mind opens up. The moment you shift your energy, clarity returns. That's the first step on the path. You want change? Step one, get clear on what you want and why you want it. Not what you don't want, what you do. And if your reasons are powerful enough, if your desire is clear enough, you're finally on the path. Now, once you know what you want and why, step two is this: you've got to face the truth. The truth will set you free. But first, it might make you a little uncomfortable. And that's okay, because discomfort is where growth begins. You've got to be brutally honest about where you really are compared to where you want to be. Maybe in some areas of your life, you're doing great. You're proud of what you've built. You're thriving. Beautiful. Celebrate that. But in other areas, you know you're not where you want to be. And pretending isn't going to change that. The only way to close the gap between where you are and where you want to go is to tell yourself the truth about that gap. So ask yourself what's really going on. Why am I where I am? What's been getting in the way? Be honest, not harsh, not judgmental, just honest. Because when you tell yourself the truth, you give yourself the power to change. And what's usually in the way, it's almost always one of three things: a limiting belief, an emotion that's keeping you stuck, or a skill you haven't learned yet. That's it. Sometimes it's fear. Sometimes it's doubt. Sometimes it's just not knowing how. But if we dig underneath it, 80 to 90% of the time, it's not the skill, it's the mindset. Because if you have the right belief system, if your emotions are aligned, you can always learn the skill. So if you want to set yourself free, face the truth. Identify the fear, the emotion, the story that's been holding you back. Look it in the eye. Because when you finally understand what's been stopping you, you can change it. That's when you get momentum. That's when you stop walking in circles and start running toward your future. Now, once you've got clarity and you've faced the truth, you're ready for step 3. You need a map. You need a massive action plan. Notice I didn't say a perfect plan. Perfection is the enemy of progress. What you need is movement. You need to sit down and say, all right, what can I do right now to move toward what I want? You brainstorm every possible action. No editing, no filtering, just write it all out. All the ways you could move forward. Then you come back and say, what are the 20% of these actions that will create 80% of my progress? That's the Pareto principle. Find the few things that will make the biggest difference. And then here's the key, do one of them immediately. Not next week, not when it's perfect, not when you feel ready. Now, because if it doesn't work, what do? You try something else. And if that doesn't work, you try again. How many times do you change your approach? Until it works. That's how life works. Think about a baby learning to walk. How long do you give your child before you say, you know what, kid, walking's just not for you? You don't. They fall, they fail, they try again, and because they keep trying, they walk. That's how humans succeed. Persistence is built into us. So once you've got your map, take action. Massive, imperfect, relentless action. And when something doesn't go as planned, adjust. That's how you build momentum. Then comes step 4, do what's hard. This is where most people stop. They know what they want. They face the truth. They've even made a plan. But when it comes time to execute, to do the difficult thing, they hesitate. Because doing what's hard is uncomfortable. It means facing your fears. It means slaying your dragons. But here's the secret: the dragon isn't outside of you. It's inside. It's not your boss, your spouse, your circumstances. It's fear. It's doubt. It's the story you've been telling yourself about what you can't do. The dragon is emotional, not external. Maybe your dragon is the fear of failure. Maybe it's the need to be perfect. Maybe it's the belief that you're not enough. Whatever it is, that's what needs to be conquered. Because once you slay that dragon, you change forever. Look at any area of mastery. Basketball, business, music, anything. Why does someone like Steph Curry make half? Court shots look effortless because he's done it millions of times. He's missed more than he's made, but he kept going. He did the hard work when nobody was watching. He practiced when it wasn't fun, when it wasn't easy. And because he did the hard work, he made it look easy later. So don't just know your plan, do your plan. Do the uncomfortable work. Face the fear. Have the tough conversation. Build the skill. Because the moment you do what's hard, you grow. You become more than you were before. Now, once you start doing the hard things, you move into step 5, build a daily practice. Consistency is what turns actions into habits and habits into identity. You need something you do every single day that keeps you aligned with your goal. Maybe it's journaling, maybe it's working out, maybe it's planning your day or reviewing your vision. It doesn't matter what it is as long as it moves you forward. Because when you have a daily practice, you guarantee progress. And progress equals happiness. If you're progressing, you feel alive. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be moving. Then step 6, keep raising your standard. Don't let comfort become your ceiling. Once you've made progress, celebrate it, but then demand more from yourself, just a little more. Because life expands or contracts in proportion to the standards you set for yourself. And here's the key. You can only raise your standards if you measure your progress. In business, in fitness, in relationships. If you don't measure, you can't manage. If you measure once a year, you might have a bad year. Measure once a month. You can fix things faster. Measure weekly, you won't have bad months. Measure daily, and you won't have bad weeks. Because where focus goes, energy flows. What you track improves. You want to take control of your destiny. Start measuring what matters. That's how you keep raising your standard. And then finally, step 7, celebrate and appreciate. You've got to stop and feel grateful for how far you've come. Because if you're always chasing the next goal without acknowledging the wins, you'll burn out. Celebration tells your brain it was worth it. It builds emotional momentum. It reinforces the belief that you can win again. So celebrate the victories, big or small. Feel the joy. Share it. Because that's the energy that fuels the next chapter. And here's the best part. After you celebrate, you start again. You look up and say, all right, what's the next level? What do I want now? You go back to step 1. You ask, why do I want it? What's the truth about where I am? What actions can I take? What dragon do I need to slay this time? What daily habits will keep me growing? That's how you build an extraordinary life. That's how you transform, not once, but over and over again. So if you're sitting there right now thinking about an area of your life that's not where you want it to be, maybe it's your health, your finances, your relationship, don't get stuck in the story. Get clear. What do you really want? Why do you want it? Face the truth. Make a plan. Take massive action. Do what's hard. Build a daily practice. Keep raising your standards. Celebrate. Repeat. This is the formula for growth in any area of life. You want a better body? Start there. You want a better relationship? Start there. You want more income, more purpose, more joy? Start there. Clarity, truth, action. Courage, consistency, standards, celebration. That's the path. And if you stay on that path, if you keep growing, keep learning, keep showing up even when it's uncomfortable, one day you'll look back and realize what the person you became was even greater than the goal you achieved. Because the real reward isn't the destination. It's who you had to become to get there. So let's make this simple. My friends, right now, decide, what do you really want? What's driving you? Why does it matter? Write it down. Feel it. See it. Then tell yourself the truth about where you are. Make your plan. Take one action today. Slay one dragon this week. Create one daily practice. Measure your progress. And when you win, celebrate it. Because when you do that, not just once, but as a way of life, you'll wake up one day and realize you're no longer chasing your dream, you're living it. That's the game. That's the path. And it all starts right now with you